It's all coming together right here now. It's all coming.
I want to thank you, first of all, for having me here. I know Chris over there messaged me the other day, and I met Bruce out at the United We Stand Fest this past May out in UCLA, well actually in Los Angeles. It wasn't at UCLA, it was at the Lakewood Theater. And I'm the founder and chair of Free and Equal Elections. I have been an advocate for reforming the electoral system since I was 17 years of age. And why I started Free and Equal, which is a non-profit 501c3 organization that's here to bring about truly open, transparent elections through education, was in '98 when my dad ran for governor in Illinois, Jim Tobin as a libertarian candidate, again for governor. And I saw at 17 years of age firsthand the corruption of our electoral system. When my dad was wrongfully knocked off the ballot, I learned about ballot access barriers, signature requirements. It took 25,000 signatures for third-party candidates and independents to get on the ballot in Illinois, while only 5,000 for Democrats and Republicans. And so I thought, why 5 times more signatures? And then Dad got over 65,000 signatures, and he was still wrongfully knocked off the ballot. And my dad sued, actually, and took to the Supreme Court, and he lost because we're up against a flawed judicial system, right? Because the people in office, two-party system, they appoint the people in office, or judicial system that is. So, really I felt like becoming a silver lining of '98, of realizing 4 years later, I managed my dad's ballot drive and successfully got him on the ballot as lieutenant governor of Illinois, which was really amazing. And so a couple years later, after finishing college, a guy by the name of Ralph Nader gave me a call in 2004, and he asked me, hey, can you help me get on the ballot, defend signatures? So I asked my dad, and he gave me the thumbs up for the job, and I crossed the political spectrum. I found myself to always be an independent. I don't believe in all the viewpoints of Ralph and so on. I believe in more voices and more choices. So it evolved from there throughout years. So on, I helped get dozens of candidates on the ballot, organized dozens of debates from Senate to gubernatorial and so on throughout the United States. And then in 2008, I worked as the National Ballot Access Coordinator for independent presidential candidate, again, Ralph Nader, spearheading and managing over 500,000 signatures throughout the U.S. and successfully getting them on the ballot. And so I would have done it for Dr. Ron Paul as well, but he told us the number one reason he didn't run for president was because of the ballot access barrier. So from that point onward, we expanded, and the creation of Free and Equal Elections happened in April of 2009, actually when I returned from living overseas in Bali, Indonesia for over 3.5 years. And so when I came back from overseas in '08, did the Ralph Nader thing, I sold my jewelry company, went from having next to nothing to truthfully $250,000, and I invested most of that into Free and Equal and bought a car. And so the creation of Free and Equal started really in '08 when we hosted the first alternative nationally televised debate at the Mayflower in Washington, D.C. with independent Ralph Nader and Chuck Baldwin of the Constitution Party, and C-SPAN 2 aired that live. And so for several years I spent my life holding conferences, becoming educated about the electoral system, and then in 2012, many of you may have heard, we hosted the 2012 presidential debate moderated by Larry King and myself. And that was truly a tipping point for Free and Equal Elections. Suddenly we're aired internationally on RT America, Al Jazeera, C-SPAN, Link TV. I mean, the list goes on and on. Of course, mainstream media kind of blocked us out a bit, but we were top 10 trending on Twitter. And people say, where did you get your money from, Christina? I mean, aside from the jewelry company, which was pretty cool, going from like not much to that. But Ralph Nader, in '08, we were the first organization he let mail his donor list to a lot of people. We had 60,000 people sign up on our list in 2012 when we hosted that debate with Larry King. And I decided, wow, I could do ballot access my entire life. I could do just opening the debates, but I realized this isn't enough. You know, I look at all the issues that we have in the world, and from fluoride, learning about that. I mean, I own ProPur, I filter my water, and, to GMOs and getting to know, of course, I mentioned before David Bronner of Magic Soaps and him taking a stance for, GMO labeling out in Washington State, and of course on the hemp issue as well. And then, I look at violence throughout the world and I thought to myself, every problem stems from a flawed electoral system. We have the wrong people in office, Democrats and Republicans alike. We have people in office that are controlled by the money, the powers to be, and tools like the two-party system. Again, as I mentioned before, to the Federal Reserve, to mainstream media, the ties of how technology has not evolved since the 1900s, how there's been over 5,000 patents that have been squashed since the 1900s. And it just, and you look at, how we have not evolved. We're living in, the dark ages, it feels like it sometimes. And so this past May, we hosted the United We Stand Festival out in UCLA, having Larry King confirmed as percentage, Marianne Williamson, spiritual author, New York Times bestselling author, running for Congress out there. She didn't make it past the primary, and she's a celebrity, so flawed electoral system. And so we were actually holding it at UCLA, and 5 days out, UCLA canceled the venue on us. And we ended up overcoming a miracle and relocating the venue within 24 hours. The day of the event, May 10th, Saturday, we booked a venue. And we had lines around the block. We packed the venue with thousands of people. It was really, people were just, we had that Friday night, we had 45 people flown in from Dr. Jill Stein, the 2012 Green Party candidate, to Foster and Kimberly Gamble of Thrive. A variety of people, to Richard Gage of 9/11, it came out there, Bruce, but we made it happen. People opened up their checkbooks, their wallets, they made it happen. And the night of the day of the fest, that Saturday, we took a loan of being paid back, $4,500 for the venue there, put out a $10,000 retainer. We sold retainer bar guarantee. We sold $11,000 in alcohol. It was it was successful, and I didn't know if people would show up. So it was a risk, but it goes to show, never, never, never give up. Yeah. The system wants us to give up. I had this young girl show up. I go to so many different things. I went to go Students for Liberty, different types of organizations. I'm here. I'm so glad to be in my first sphere change, and many more to come. Yeah. Meetings, right. Yeah. And way to go, Luke Rogowski. What a great guy. But I had this girl walk up to me one day after speaking at Pepperdine about electoral reform. She was like, there's just no way I give up. There's no way we can do this. Odds are against us. I looked at her and I said, why are you here? Why are you here? Because if you give up, and there's people around, if you give up, they win. They win. And giving up is not an option, because as soon as you give up, you become a part of the problem. And she looked at me, and I just if you could have a cartoon above her head of a little light switch turning on, it was she's like, you're right. I'm never going to say that again. We can do this. Oh. And so we're out here. I think you guys took a look here. After May, it was definitely a month or two of a little bit of repairing. It was quite a, that fest, put us about 30,000 in the hole, but we've raised well over half of that and more soon to come to get out of that. That fest has made our team stronger than ever at Free and Equal Elections. Nick Burnaby works with us, Alex Fidel, Nate G, all these amazing national coordinators have stepped up volunteering for us, and who knows what will come of that out of their own hearts and their will and their determination. And after that fest, I knew something would pull me, would gravitate me into something to take things to the next level. And here we are in Colorado. We're going to be hosting a governor's debate at Infinity Park in Glendale. This debate, I would have never thought, is so awesome. It's co-hosted by the Chamber of Commerce of Glendale. Yeah. And the mayor of Glendale, Mike Donovan, you may know, the independent running for governor here, is confirmed, as well as Harry Hempy of the Green Party. And Matthew Hess, cool guy, just saw all three of them debate at Channel 12 last week, Libertarian candidate, and another independent, soon to be fifth one. We have 4 candidates confirmed. And I'll be hand delivering invitations to the Democrat Republicans office tomorrow You know, I genuinely want them to be there to address real issues, whether it's the National Defense Authorization Act, to the Patriot Act, to the National Surveillance Act, to, you know, GMOs, to war in Syria, what's going on there. I mean, it's just to address the real issues in the world. And so I do foresee this debate garnering national attention. It is going to be released into this month. One of the governor candidates is going to be releasing a song with a mainstream media musician. Mainstream. I'm like, are you kidding? It's just everything I've envisioned. And so bringing in potentially celebrities, activists, we have such a great network. Working with the team of Collective 360 that put on that 420 Fest in Colorado. There was 135,000 people there. We've teamed up with them. They're helping us so much with our efforts. And so we're really coming in here with such a force on the ground. But you can never neglect the force of the people. And I decided that I have to spend a whole month, 2 months, whatever it takes to be here in Colorado, day in, day out, 24/7, to build this debate. I anticipate national figures are going to come in to speak. I know Dr. Bronner's of Magic Soaps is interested in coming in. A press conference uniting leaders of all the initiatives against GMO and various topics. We'd love to have a speaker from We Are Change at our press conference on September 30th, a week for the debate. We need to open the debates nationwide. And you know, one thing I like to always look at as a reference, I like Jimmy Wales of Wikipedia. He really has taken a stand, you know, against internet censorship and whatnot. But if you go to the Commissions on Presidential Debates Wikipedia page, and we'll have this up on the screen at the debate is what I'm planning. The League of Women Voters, you know, they have a quote on there that says, the demands, so the League rejected, let me pull it up here. It's my first time in the history here. It's under...
Just a comment real quick. I believe
Sure.
that they used to mediate the presidential debates, correct?
Yes.
This is from Jesse Ventura. I just remember him saying that for the Clinton, Gore, what was his name? Oh no, it was Clinton, Bush, Ross Perot.
Right.
I think that was the last time we had 3 parties in the debate, and Ross Perot took like 20% of the vote for that debate. That was 1 out of 5, and that freaked them out. And so the next year they took it back, and it's now in the hands of the Congress or somebody that's not independent. It's not with the League of Women Voters anymore, I believe.
Yeah, the League of Voters. Oh, sure. Would you like to speak briefly?
Yeah.
They withdrew in 1988 their sponsorship of the debates, and they released a statement saying that, I believe, right, Morton here, the demands of the 2 campaigns organizations would perpetrate a fraud on the American voters. So I spoke with probably 3 to 5 members of the League of Women Voters U.S. I haven't said this publicly out loud until now, a couple months ago, but they have already expressed interest in hopping on board and sponsoring our debate. And they said the Commission on Presidential Debates, and they said it has created, it's a fraud to the American voters. And you look here on the Wikipedia page, you see the commission was taken over by the Democratic and Republican parties, forming today's version of the Commission on Presidential Debates. And so the actual former chair, if you look here, crazy, this organization, which is a nonprofit controlled by the Democratic and Republican parties, has run each of the presidential debates since 1988. The commission is held by Frank Fahrenkolb, a former head of the Republican National Committee, and former White House press secretary, Michael D. McCurry. They decided.
Democrat. A
When
Republican and a Democrat.
In 2008, when I worked to get Ralph Nader on the ballot, I helped him. Well, I just happened to be at the Democratic, something where they had a whole bunch of press interviews. It was all of it, the Democratic committee. And he looked at me and he said, Christina, he said, look at all the press here. I could interview with every single one of them right now. This is 2008, October. He said, I could interview with all of them, and I wouldn't even reach 2-3% of the voters, 3-4%. And it was, he said, we have to open the debates. Ralph Nader, held an open debates rally. Jesse Ventura spoke there. Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine perform there, and it was really great. You know, I helped with the media, and I definitely was on board to help organize that behind the scenes and the forefront. And Sean Penn spoke there, and so on. And that was really when my light turned on. I said, I have to organize. This is my destiny. You know, this debate alternative, because it was very obvious to me this was probably, if not one, the most powerful tool that the system uses to intentionally divide us and create negative chaos throughout the world. And there's hundreds, thousands, who knows how many debates where candidates are being excluded throughout the United States. So while we're announcing this debate at Infinity Park, I mean, Infinity Park wants to potentially work, partner, whatever, with us to hold the United We Stand Fest here in Colorado next summer. And, you know, from contacts with the Donovan campaign and others, him being the mayor there and all the awesome people running for governor, Matt and Hempy and all of them, you know, I've been told the city wants us there. And, you know, Glendale is going to be open 24/7, I think open, bottle, fun, you know, pretty evolving, growing little town. But I'm excited to be somewhere where someone wants us, because UCLA, they wrongfully canceled our event. We fulfilled all contractual obligations. We have up to 6 months to deal with that. And,
Did you sue them for doing that?
well, I'm considering it.
Oh, girl, do it. Don't consider it.
And so, I mean, it was definitely, what educational system would turn down an event as Larry King, Dennis Kucinich, Public Enemy, founders of Wu-Tang Clan, Immortal Technique, Brother Ali, all confirmed for that
All
fest.
crazy conspiracy theorists.
And wait until 5 days
The
before.
only conspiracy is
Reality acknowledgers.
And to wrap up, you know, and I could take questions. I would love to take questions. I love interacting. That's coming here keeps me connected with the people. And no matter how life evolves, you got to stay real and authentic and never be controlled by the almighty dollar. But you know, it's just the people. You know, just to wrap up on UCLA, and we are so much stronger because of it. And it didn't feel like it when it happened in the moment, but a month or two later, wouldn't change a thing. Our team is prepared for really anything. We're ready for really, to within reason, uphill battle. And so we're going to be launching a network, a marketplace, an election assistant, which is going to list every single candidate running for office, from Democrats, Republicans, Independents, and so on. We're going to highlight money in politics. We're going to be launching 6, 12, dozens of online debates between now and November, simultaneously throughout the United States, because we are getting hundreds of inquiries of people saying we want to be in the debates. Senatorial, gubernatorial. We're going to open up the debates. We're going to work hard to put the Commission on Presidential Debates out of business and create a platform. These independent candidates, how to win for office. You got to be engaged, social media. You got to be on listening to the people. I click on our Facebook page, as I told you. We have over 10, 15, almost 20 million outreach a week, and our Facebook page only has 125,000 likes. That's equivalent to having millions of likes. That's the kind of outreach we have. Solid base of supporters. And we have to get and recruit and inspire the kids, the people. Rock the Vote, by the way, sponsoring our debates.
Yeah.
They're on board. And we've got to get the people, all of us, all ages, from Woodstock mixed together to now times, every generation together, to realize that we have to take back our government, bring back the accountability within our government, and we've got to get engaged in our voting process again. We've got to go out there and vote. We've got to recognize, yes, there's voter fraud. I don't hold it against anybody who hasn't voted in the past, because the electoral system is fraudulent. But in the future, gotta vote. And the way we're gonna do that is get the right people in office that are just us, we the people, more of us than there are of them, of good, authentic, hardworking people. One of the little child there, what an inspiration, just seeing a little girl walk around. I mean, that generation, we gotta even worry about us right now. I mean, it's just that serious. So on that note, I wanna thank you so much, everyone, for having me tonight.
Thank you.